So we're just trying to analyze the patterns and see whether there is any entry signals. So what we'll normally do is we'll take a look at a 15-minute charts, right? So in this case, we have the Euro USD chart. So as you can see, there are some indicators showing that it's on a sell signal because the 10 EMA crosses over the 5 EMA. The RSI is below 50%, the two stochastic lines are heading downwards. So there's a potential buy signal, right? So in this case, the candle is not fully formed, so we'll wait at 12:45. Okay, so the GBP USD, same thing, right? Yep, it's the same thing, two lines, stochastic line going downwards. The 10 EMA, so this is another sell signal. And then for JBP, JPY, in this case, if you notice, the signal here is not that strong, so we'll just put it right at the end. GBP Euro, as you can see, it's trending, right? It's not sure yet where is it going. However, it has crossed the line at 12 noon, right? Yeah, there is actually a buy signal at 12 noon from here, but if you look at the stochastic lines, it's actually quite flat, so it's not a real confirmation. Euro JPY, as you can see, it's actually on a sell signal, but the RSI is still above 50%. So this is not a confirmatory, right? The MACD shows that it's there's a buy signal. So for this case, when do we enter, right? So if you look at here, the new candle has formed for the Euro USD, and you can see that the MACD has also crossed this line. So there's a very strong indication that this is a sell at 12:45, right? Just before the market opens. So normally what I'll do here is I'll just buy. I'll just enter, in this case, I'll sell. So I will sell at 25, right? So as you can see, the indicator here all show that it's all going downward. So I'll just sell, okay, at 25 lots. And then for GBP USD, as you can see, it's fully formed here. Yeah, so this is also another indication to sell. Alright, then the GBP Euro, as you can see, yeah, it's not very clear because the indicators do not line up. So you can put it at the back here. Euro JPY, as you can see, same thing, mixed signal. JBP, JPY, no signal. So far, these are the only indicators which we have seen to be quite strong. Okay, it's indicating quite strong sell signal, right? So now this is a 15-minute chart. So typically what we will do here is we'll do a stop loss of 10 pips and a limit of 30. Alright, so as you can see here, when you first enter, of course you'll make a loss because there's a spread, right? For each of these, there's a spread and a margin. Alright, so in this case, as you can see, the GBP USD is starting to profit. So right now you can see it is hovering between profit $5, $15, okay? So for intraday trading, whereby you actually trade according to the sessions, you must be very careful to have strong trading psychology. Alright, so once a while, just take a look at the pattern here and see whether things are okay, because sometimes you're not sure what's happening. Right, so sometimes you have to use your mental stop loss to see whether should I stop this trade now and things like that. Because sometimes when things are too volatile, they can just move very fast, right? So even though there's a certain pattern, you still have to be careful. Right? So in this case, as you can see, it hovers between 10 loss to $2.50 to $5 profit, right, for these two pairs. So you just have to be a little bit more patient because this whole candlestick will take about 15 minutes to be fully formed. Right? So as you can see now, it has not even reached 15 minutes. It's just the first few minutes. So sometimes it can be quite nerve-wracking, right? Because you will see, oh, how come I'm making $2.50 and then now I'm making a loss of $42 or $32 and things like that. So that's why you have to stick to your trading system, right? Your trading system, you must stick to your trading plan. So one of the rules that I have established is no FOMO, okay, fear of missing out. So you must make sure that all your indicators are there, they are all set. So like for example, in this case, we were very clear about these indicators here. As you can see, they show that the 10 EMA crosses over the 5 EMA, that's the first sign. The second sign is a stochastic lines here both are going downwards, so it shows you is a good time to actually, is a very strong sell signal. The RSI is below 50%, so there's a very strong sell signal. Alright, so as you can see here, we already made $30. So if I close this, I would have already made $37 right now, about $50 right now. Right, so it's always good not to keep looking at the numbers, right? But at the same time, because when you're first starting out, you're a bit worried, you're not sure, you're not confident. So like right now, we're already almost earning $60 and suddenly it goes down to 5 so quickly, right? Because you must remember the market really is very volatile once the New York session opens. And the New York session is going to open in the next 15 minutes. So if you look at this candlestick, right? So in this case, what I'll do here is I'll use this tab to let me know that these are the two that I have opened the trades, right? So typically, you know, when I feel that I'm quite confident of what I've just purchased, I will not bother with the rest. I'll just focus, because this is actually the second trading session for me. My first trading session was actually during the London opening session. So as you can see here, in such a short amount of time, within 1 minute, from $60 profit, it has gone to $50 loss, right? So this is the nature of intraday trading, right? Because the price would fluctuate quite a lot, right? So you have to be careful, look at the indicators. So in this case, as you can see, the indicators are still showing a sell signal. The same thing here is showing a sell signal. So if you had created this trading plan and you have tested it over 2 months, right? You can do a back testing. So you need to do back testing in the sense that you need to use some software to do back testing to see whether your trading plan works, whether it gives you some kind of profitability. Then after that, you need to go through a demo account for 2 months at least, 2 months to understand, you must know that when you do back testing, you're just looking at technical analysis, whether it works out. But when you do demo practice, what you're trying to do here is you are trying to go through the whole trading psychology that you go through. Like for example, you look at your weaknesses, So some of the weaknesses that I have is my fear of missing out, right? My fear of missing out on trades. But you must remember this, if you go into a trade, right, without really confirming the indicators, then you'll make a loss. Like for example, in this case, you'll be wondering, oh dear, if I should have gone in or not, Like for example, in this case, there are some signals here. Like for example, there's a signal here, but this is not clear. So it's always good not to, to be so afraid. Like for example, right now, if I can just share with you, GBP USD now is at minus 3.2 pips, right? Alright, so sometimes it can be very nerving. Like for example, you are doubting yourself. Like you're wondering, oh dear, I should have gained that 50 US dollars. Like in this case, what's happening? So sometimes you can look at this indicator and you can look at the candlestick. So if you look at the candlestick here, right, the low is getting lower, right? So you can roughly tell yourself, you should give it some time. All right. So if you look at this, we have put your stop loss here. So unless the price goes up here, then you will lose the stop loss maximum, which is 10 pips, right? Which is about 200 USD. Alright, so you must have faith in your trading system. So because it's intraday trading, you're not scalping by the minute, you're scalping by probably within 1 hour or 1.5 hours. But you must be careful, like I mentioned, the new session is coming up. So sometimes there might be reversal in the new session or continuation of the session. So as you can see right now, there's a profit, right? So this is quite unnerving, right? Like for example, you're making a loss and suddenly you're making a profit, and then it just becomes so volatile, right? So this session here, as you can see, it's going to be very volatile, right? So you need to have lots of confidence in yourself. As you can see, it will take another 15 minutes for the New York market to open. So sometimes the market is quite unsure about the price action, right? So as you can see here, it fluctuates quite a lot in preparation of the market opening. So if you look at this, it's still about the same, but sometimes you must take note that the lines, like in this case, the lines are quite stable. They're quite stable apart. But if you look at the GBP USD, the lines can, the lines do not cross that easily. As you can see here, there's just a tiny little bit of gap. All right, and then you can see here, this GBP USD is in under stress mode, because you must remember, once the New York session open, USD will be in huge volume, right? So in this case, If you look at the other one, which we have not entered the trade, right, the Euro JPY, you can see it's still going down, right? Your indicators show that it's going down. The stochastic is both going down, so there are indicators to show that you can also go into this trade. Not this, not so. So the next one that you might consider would be Euro JPY. You might consider it, but the RSI is not so clear. Now, if we look back at the positions right now, you have suddenly now it goes to -2 from 3, now it goes to 0.6, so it moves very quickly now, right? Because the market is preparing for the opening, right? So one of the things you need to take note here is the question you ask yourself is these two currencies that you have entered is actually against the US dollars, and then you have just sold it. So what you're trying to say here is the US dollar will actually weaken, right? So if the US dollar weakens in the first hour, then you will make money, right? So right now, if you look at your positions, right, from having a high profit of 60 US dollar, you're now incurring a loss of 140 US dollar. All right, and the margin for 25 contracts in 2 trades will be about, if I'm not mistaken, will be about $2,700. All right. So as you can see now, the market is preparing for the opening. So they are trying to get the best price before the market opens. So in this case, they are trying to push the GBP. All right. So in this case, your GBP will go down only when the US dollar appreciates. So in this case, we are betting against the pound, the Great Britain pound, and the euro. Okay, we are thinking that both of them will actually drop, right? So as you can see here, they are trying to get a higher price, right? So sometimes when you're looking at a candlestick, it doesn't really tell you much, you know, what's going to happen. Like for example, we know that this candlestick is a bullish candlestick, is showing that the price is going up. So as you can see here, as they push the price here, interestingly, the 5 EMA now crosses over the 10 EMA, right? But if you look at the indicators, it do not line up to support the buy signal. So sometimes the sell signal could suddenly change. Like in this case, the line crosses over. But you must remember, for our case, we are looking at a full 15-minute candlestick. Right? So for this case, you just have to be patient. You cannot keep changing your positions. So like in this case, as you can see, it's now up to -7 limit. Right? So here we have another 4 minutes to see what will happen to the price. Are they going to keep pushing the price upwards? Is it going to be bullish, and then is it going to change the trend, or is it just going to be a very long upper wick? Okay, for the Euro USD, the same thing is happening. They're trying to push it just before the market opens. So one of the things that you need to take note of for such volatile markets is you perhaps need to wait for the market to open, and then you need to make the decision. So in this case, it's about 4 more minutes to the market opening. So as you can see, the GBP is rallying. You know, the bulls are rallying really hard, right? So as you can see, the 5 EMA is really going up over the 10 EMA, and you're almost getting to your stop loss, right? So as you can see here, it's now as 8.1, right? So it's really pushing upwards. Yes, it's pushing some more before it breaks open. So typically for this sort of thing, what I like to do is I like to put the loss probably at 20. Oh, position closed. So what happens here is actually what has happened here is the GBP has touched your stop loss. All right, so your position has been closed. Right, so this is some of the indicators. Like suddenly you see your RSI suddenly goes above 50. Right, so that's why in this case, as you can see, the GBP USD is so volatile that it can go up so quickly. Right, so from here you can understand that just the first 15 minutes you have to be very careful to take note of what is going to happen. So like in this case, if you look at the indicator, it's always not, you know, you need to look at a pattern to be formed. So in this case, you can see it broke open here, and typically what it does, it will just push the position upward, and then after that, it will go the other way, right? So the same thing like this is testing a higher price before the market open. So the market will open in 1 minute. Let's take a look at the candlestick once the market open. All right. So right now the GBP USD. So in this case, we are waiting for the next candlestick to open, which is in another minute's time. So typically, they will follow the trend as soon as the market opens. So in this case, as you can see, the stochastic is now quite flat, but the RSI has now become more than 50%. Right? So as you can see here for the USD GBI, it's still going downwards, right? It's still going downwards. And then for the GBP USD, it's actually going downwards as well. So this is just a slight, consolidation after they go down for a while. Okay, after they go up for a while. So that's why in this kind of situation, what you will see, right? What you will see essentially here is the market is not really, they're not really sure what the price is going to be. So as you can see here, the Euro USD is going to go down. So typically what happens here is they're gonna rally it, the bear will be rallying it downwards. GBP USD, in this case, the bear is gonna rally it downwards as well, because as you can see here, this is just temporary. In general, it's still gonna go down, right? So as you can see, it's still going downwards. So like just now we had a position here. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is, if you notice, it's just a temporary. So we open another position and we still stick to the selling signal in this case, right? So typically for this kind of trades, right, it will take you about 30 minutes to 90 minutes to see how the trade is going. So, right, so for now we're just gonna pause and then. Alright, so as we can see, what happens here is, right, so just now as I mentioned to you, it's actually a buy, it's actually a sell signal, and this is just temporary. Right, so right now we can see there is a bearish signal here. It's continuing to go down, and all the indicators are showing that it's going down. So as you can see, sometimes it's just temporary. So you just have to be careful. So normally, some of the solution is to buy another lot. So in this case, we are fortunate that our stop loss was too low by about less than 1 pip. Right. So what we have done here is we have bought it again. Right, so that we can actually cover our losses. All right, and then in this case, as you can see, it's still going down. Right, yeah, it's still on the downward trend. Right, Euro USD. So the GBP USD, we have gone down quite significantly now to 4.1. Now we make a profit of 100 USD. Right, so yeah. Because essentially what happened here is, after we look at this pattern, we actually bought it here, right? So essentially we are now making, like, actually in this case, we are supposed to make back the 250 USD we have lost because of the slightly low stop loss by 1. So sometimes, for this kind of situation, when you enter at a very volatile conditions, you have to make sure that you understand that sometimes the price will just go up suddenly, like in this case, just goes up suddenly. After that, it will come back down. It's just a reaction before the market opens. So in this case, the GBP USD market is opening again. So we're gonna make back our loss. So in this case, if you notice, we need to have at least 250 to make the loss that we did just now, simply because we have a stop loss of slightly less than 1 pip. So we must learn from our mistakes so that we improve. So in this case, GBP USD, perhaps we could have put 15 pips stop loss, right? So in this case, you can see the GBP USD is going down really strong. Okay, it's becoming very bearish downwards, and it's going to continue bearish. Okay, so that means the USD dollar has the sentiment is going to be stronger. So the indicators show here that it is very weak, right? The USD is very weak. In this case, the Euro USD is not as volatile, but it's still going down. So typically what we'll do here is we'll just wait it out, So our exit signal will be that it will cross over, right, the other way around. So in this case, the 5 EMA will cross over back to 10 EMA, right? So in this case, all we need to be concerned of right now is to make sure that we are back to the profits that we need to make. So for Euro USD, we're almost there. So we can maintain it. The indicators show that it's all going down. It was just a reaction just before the market opens. So that's why it's very important to quite understand the market. So in this case, as you can see, we will definitely hit the 30. Alright, so because this market is very volatile, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna extend the limit by an extra of 10. So I'm gonna put 22 here, so that it means that we need to make up for the loss. So in this case, if I close this, it means that I did not make any loss. So right now it goes to as high to 8.8 to 9 now, 9 pips, right? So if you look at the GBP here, we are already making $222.50 as it is going downwards. And then for the Euro USD, we are soon going to hit the zero profit loss. So right now it's minus 10.9. Alright, so these are the different kind of situation you need to understand when you open a position just before the market opens, right? The market will have some jitters. They will try to, do something to the price before the market opens, and then after that, they will be testing the price, and then after that, there will be a reaction to it, right? Alright, so like for example, intraday trading, if you keep looking at the price, you wouldn't know, right? It can be quite nerve-wracking. So in this case, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to leave these positions open, and then we're going to take a look at it, like say for example in the next half hour. Okay, hi, welcome back. So just now we were a while for like 5 minutes, so I've entered another trade for GBP JPY because these are the indicators. The indicators are showing it's a sell signal. So as mentioned here, in intraday trading, you can see that the price fluctuates quite a lot. So you must really be very disciplined to stick to their trading system, because if not, you will be making decisions because you will feel the nerves. So like for example, in this case right now, at one point, all of these were making a profit. So now in a few minutes, it has changed. So you must remember intraday trading, the prices will fluctuate, right? So don't think too much of it. I mean, you have already established a stop loss and limit entries, so you know what's the maximum you're going to lose and what's the maximum you're going to win in every trade, right? So some days you will make money, some days you will not make money. So just take note that as long as the trading system is profitable, it should be okay. So like for example, last week, out of 5 days, 2 days, there were no trades because I was busy with appointments and I wasn't feeling well. So I only entered trades for 3 days. So in total, I only had 5 trades. And from 5 trades, all of them were actually winning trades, right? So you don't have to worry too much, like for example, what you are looking out here is you must make a profit and you must protect your capital, right? You must be able to protect your capital. Your equity must be protected, because once your equity is gone, you'll be eating up on your equity. So like in this case, for example, the GBP USD, just now the stop loss was slightly too little by less than 1 pip, and that whole entire trade went, it just burnt, right? 250 USD, you burn 250 USD. So like in this case, what happened here is we re-entered the trade at a much higher price. So when we're selling it, we make much more money. So in this case, it's actually a profit of about 10 USD because we need to cancel out. And as you can see here, the prices are still moving up and down, up and down, up and down. So typically for intraday trading, for this trading system, it will take us about 2 hours, 90 minutes to 2 hours to really see the full cycle being played out, right? So it'll take you a lot of patience, because you must remember this is a trading system. So you have just to be patient and take a look at the indicator. So if you look at the USD, Euro USD here, the indicator shows that it is, it is going down, and now there's a cross with the Euro USD here, right? So as you can see here, the indicators are showing that the sell signal was there. GBP USD is still going down. As you can see here, the lines are even becoming bigger, so it will go down even more, right? And then the GBP JPY is still going down. So the Euro USD in a way is one of the most volatile, most liquid currency pair. So expect it to be very, very unstable, right? So as you can see here, at about 1 p.m. London, which is about 8 a.m. New York, the New York market opened. So that's why there is a pre-nerves or pre-market nerves here shown here, right? So what happened here is we had opened the price before the market opened. So if we had bought it here, we would have made the same profit as here, right? Because we actually went into the trade again here. So as you can see, it fluctuates. So just be prepared that something can fluctuate to negative 5 pips or 5 points or 6 points and go up and down, up and down, up and down. So typically for this kind of trading, intraday trading, it's best for you not to even, worry too much about it, because you just need to stick to your trading plan. You need to back test it. You need to go through the demo practice for 2 months so that you can understand your trading psychology, and then you need to improve on it, right? Because every loss you make, there's some kind of improvement, right? Like for example, the GBP USD is one of the very liquid and volatile currency pair. So for that kind of situation, you should have put a higher stop loss, because sometimes the market will test. That's one. The other one is probably you shouldn't enter the market. So as you can see here, now it's already at 12 pips, right? Overall, we are making a profit, right? So the Euro USD, as mentioned here, it is still trying to consolidate, So sometimes what I'll try to do is I'll just take a look at the overall picture here. So as you can see here, it's going up, going down, going up, going down. So now it's like going down a little bit more, and it's gone down here. So now it's going up a little, right? So if you look at the pattern here, these are areas of resistance and support. So as you can see here, this is what is happening to it, right? It is still, trying to hit here before perhaps it will go up again, right? So these are some of the very important things that you can take a look, to re-evaluate what you should do, right? So in this case, it's at 10.9. The GBP JPY, right? As you can see, it's still going downwards. Okay, it's still pushing downward. It's still being bearish. So it takes some time to, to see the value. So this is not really scalping, because scalping basically once you make money, you go out. For in this case, we are just giving it some time, right, for the pattern to show, right? So in this case, the Euro USD, now we're at $60 loss. GBP is at 275 profit. GBP JPY is at yen 9,000. So overall, it's still a profit for these whole 3 trades. All right. So yeah, we'll resume this next. Alright, so as you can see, all the trades actually ended up in losses in this session, because this session is one of the most volatile sessions. So from my own experiment and my own testing, I found that this session is not really good session for intraday trading, right? So it's too volatile, and the prices are not very stable, so it can just go up and down, up and down. So like in this case, it went down and then now it's just trending, right? So for GBP USD is the same thing. So this session here is when the New York session opens. So yeah, I'm gonna close this. So as you can see, it's very important to take note of the session that you are going to participate in. So some of the data has shown that the most profitable time to actually go into trades whereby you can get significant amount of profit is not during the volatile sessions, which is when the New York session and the London session open, because it's too volatile, right? And the prices will not have certain sort of direction, so it can just go up and down, up and down, and down. So your indicators will not be functioning to your benefit, right? Because we are doing intraday trading. So that's why it is better. One of the solution is to change your 15 minutes to probably 5 minutes. Yeah. So if you had changed to the 5 minute, you could see that the pattern actually started here, right? It went down here, and then you will see different indicators. So for a 15 minute chart, I would not recommend the New York session, right? Especially when you are doing the session when it's opening session, right? Because it will be too volatile. Okay, so like in this case, you can see that it went down and then after that now it's going up, right? So this is the pattern. So if you had entered, let's say you enter at 2005, and then you will go up, right? So for these GBP JPY, GBP USD. So in this case, if you notice, you can be doing scalping, right? So in this case, when you do scalping, you're hoping for the price to go higher. So as you can see here, the indicators show that it's higher. So in this kind of scalping, like for example, in this case, the position here is 2,500 contracts. So every pip here counts. Like for example, in this case, this 1.7 pip is about 4,000 US dollars. So if you are into scalping, you can actually use this method whereby you actually leverage on the margin, right? For in this case, the margin here is about 1.5 million, which you might not have, right? So this is scalping, so you're hoping for the price to go higher. All right, so these are some of the things for you to take note of.